Good evening, everybody. Say, first, I'd like to thank Doylin for coming out, especially in the cold weather. Tonight's learning, do we have a dedication? Yeah. Okay, tonight's learning we'll learn the Fu Shalemo, Yechil Mechel Ben Bela, Rabbi Yehudis Bas Yecheved, Nechemi Ma'Pageto, Yechesker Shagman, Elisha Bechano, Eliza Bas Shalit, Daniel Ben Shalit, Yosef Ahuvi Ben Seuda, the Chazan family. I'd just like to ask the Olam if it's possible that to hold off on the shilas. If anyone has any shilas after the shir, we'll stay here at the shachat to answer the shilas, but if possibly, Baruch Hashem, on video, it helps out a lot if the Olam could refrain from asking the shilas and better discuss it after the shir. Tonight's topic is a very typical topic. It's a very negei l'maisa, and even though in the past we've spoken about topics that weren't so negei, tonight's shir is very much halacha l'maisa oriented. And it's a very typical topic, and it's based on a pasuk in this week's parsha of Zocher Shem Shabbos Kachay, where the Gemara in Pesachim learns out the mitzvah of Kiddush. Where the Gemara says, Zachreu, what does it mean to be Zocher Shem Shabbos Kachay? Says the Gemara, Zachreu al Yayin. You want to be Yotze Kiddush by saying it al Yayin. And the Gemara brings down also later on in Pesachim that not only is there a mitzvah to make Kiddush Friday night, Shabbos by night, so too also there's a mitzvah to make Kiddush Shabbos day. Shabbos morning is also a mitzvah to make Kiddush. We're going to see later on in the shir that there's a big difference. The Friday night Kiddush is a Kiddush D'Oraisa. The many halachic nafkaminas, whether if the Kiddush is D'Oraisa or Rabbanon. The Friday night Kiddush is D'Oraisa. However, the Shabbos morning Kiddush would be a mitzvah D'Rabbanon. So let's start off with the Gemara in Pesachim, a well-known Gemara of Kufam and Beis, where the Gemara tells us the following: Oisim b'nei Adam shekitchu beis hakneses. Back in the day, today also in some shuls they still do it today. There used to be Mekadosh in the shul. They would make after Ma'ariv, after davening, they would go ahead and they would make Kiddush in the shul. And I remember when I grew up near my house, when we used to daven Friday night, I'm sure in the Bronx did also, right? On the Old side, they used to make Kiddush in the shuls. Now, the Mechaber says that the reason why they did it is because people used to stay in the shul, they used to eat in the shul, you had orchim, you had guests in the shul. So they had to be Yotze Kiddush. Not everybody there wasn't a supply of wine like we have Baruch Hashem today, so that they would make Kiddush in shul, we might see everybody. Today we don't have orchim, so therefore many shuls, they don't make Kiddush afterwards. But says the Gemara in Pesachim, and the minhag was to go ahead and make Kiddush, Oisim b'nei Adam shekitchu beis hakneses. The people who weren't staying in the shul, they would go home afterwards, they would eat the meal in the house. Says the Gemara, Oisim b'nei Adam shekitchu beis hakneses. What's their status? Are they Yotze Kiddush or they're not Yotze Kiddush? They're not eating in shul, they're eating at home. Says the Gemara, Marav Yidei Yayin lo Yotzim. If they're going to go home and drink more wine, so they have to make a hagafen, you have a Shinamakon, Mesiach Das, they're drinking maybe wine in shul, they would take out some Kiddush. When they go home, if they drink more wine, they have to make another hagafen. However, says the Gemara, that Rav holds, Yidei Kiddush Yotzu, they don't have to make Kiddush again. Maybe they have to be mighty people at home, but if they're eating by themselves, if everybody at home already made Kiddush, Yidei Kiddush Yotzu, they're already Yotze Kiddush at shul, even though they didn't eat at shul. That's Shittas Rav. However, says the Gemara that Shmuel is chaylik. Shmuel says, Afi de Kiddush lo Yotzu, even Kiddush they're not Yotzu. And therefore, even though they heard Kiddush in shul, being that they're not eating in shul, they're going home to eat the meal. They're not Yotze Kiddush and they're obligated to make Kiddush again. Says the Gemara, why? Says the Gemara, because as the Shmuel Tamei Dama Shmuel, famous halacha in Kiddush, Ela b'makim Seuda. In order for the Kiddush to be a valid Kiddush, it's not enough that somebody makes Kiddush. But in order to validate the Kiddush, there has to be a Seuda as well. In Kiddush, Ela b'makim Seuda. It's contingent. The person can only be Yotze Kiddush if he has a Seuda as well. And being that he's not having the Seuda in shul, he therefore is never Yotze Kiddush, and he has to make Kiddush when he gets home. So how do we paskin? There's a tremendous shaila. Do we paskin that you have to have a Seuda to be Yotze Kiddush? Or do we paskin like Rav, that you don't need a Seuda to be Yotze Kiddush? So the Rosh over here in Mesechtas Pesachim, he brings down like this. The Rosh writes, v'kaimon k'shmuel. We pass like Shmuel then Kiddush al-Makom Seuda. Correct the Rosh Hashanah, but we have a klal. The klal is that whenever you have a machlokes Rav and Shmuel, the din is halacha k'Rav b'Yisurim. We go like Rav when it comes to Yisurim. So therefore, says the Rosh, why are you going like Shmuel? You can only be Yotze Kiddush if you have a Seuda. We know Rav and Shmuel, we say halacha k'Rav b'Yisurim. It's only been the money that we go like Shmuel. Says the Rosh that even though Rabbi Yochanan held like Rav, but since there were so many Amoraim that the Gemara lists in Psachim that held the Shita of Shmuel, therefore paskins the Rosh and Kiddush al-Makom Seuda, and you can only have a valid Kiddush, you only Yotze Kiddush if you have a Seuda. The same thing writes the Rambam. The Rambam in Perek Chav Tes, in Hilchos Shabbos, Halacha Yud Beis, in Halacha Yud, the Rambam writes like this. Listen to a Rambam. He says, "A mitzvah levarach al hayayin b'yom haShabbos kodim sheyisoy tzud d'shniya." There's a mitzvah of a person to make Kiddush before he has the second Seuda b'yom, and who hadin the same halacha apply b'layla. The Shabbos morning Kiddush is ehu anikra Kiddush Rabbah. The Shabbos morning is called Kiddush Rabbah, the great Kiddush. So Gemara says, why is it called Kiddush Rabbah? Just parenthetically, why is it called Kiddush Rabbah? The Nusach Friday night is so much longer than the Shabbos morning Kiddush. The Shabbos morning Kiddush, the entire Kiddush is really just the bracha bar priyagofen. This that they added on, al kein beirach and zocheh esiyom Shabbos akachay, that was an added on addition later on. But the Kiddush itself is just the bracha. So why is it called Kiddush Rabbah? So Gemara says it's a lashon sagi no. Being that it's really a small Kiddush, we don't want people to neglect that kind of Kiddush, because it's a small Kiddush, we give it the title of Kiddush Rabbah. Writes the Rambam, the next Kiddush he washes for the Seuda, says the Rambam, which is a very important halacha. Even though we're going to just divert for a moment, but it's a very negative halacha. The Rambam writes, the Rambam writes that it's forbidden, it's also for a person to eat before he makes Kiddush. That means not only does the Kiddush have to have a Seuda to be Yotze the Kiddush, but when I'm not Yotze the Kiddush, I have no heter to eat. It's even more, Havdalah din is I can't eat, but I can drink. Kiddush is even more chomer that I can't even drink before I make Kiddush. So comes the Rabbi, and the Rabbi says, you tell me I can't eat before Kiddush of the daytime? At night I understand. The Gemara says, Achrei Elayayin. Writes the Rabbi extremely harsh words in the Rambam. He says, Amar Avram, B'chaya Yoshi, the lashon of a shvua. In the Svara Amra, if the Rambam is saying this from a Svara from his own logic, I never heard a Svara, he never said such a lousy Svara Pchusa Mizu in his entire life. And he says, Lafisha Karu, Kiddush Rabbah Yotzelo, he says, V'ena Klum. He says, perish the thought, how could there be an Issa? When it comes to the Kiddush by day, says the Rabbi, there's no Issa to eat before. A person can eat before Kiddush Shabbos day. It's a Shigel Pesach for the Kiddush clubs. But the Rabbi is saying, what do you mean? You don't have to make Kiddush Shabbos day, you eat even beforehand. The emes is, it's not only a Rabbi. You have great Rishonim who cite this opinion. The Meiri holds this as well. The Meiri says there's no Issa Shabbos morning to eat before Kiddush. The Maram Chava also says like this. But Lamaisa, we can't take this Rabbi halach Lamaisa. Even though you have Rishonim, we'll see later on in the Shia how maybe perhaps we're going to use it as a sniff. The very negative Kashailas, but to take the Rabbi strictly as halach Lamaisa, we can't do that. Even though it's a Rabbi, the Maram Chava, Meiri, and others. Because if you look, the Shulchan Aruch in two places, in Reishai and Aleph Siv Dalet, when he talks about Kiddush Friday night, Mechaber Paskins like the Rambam, Asle L'Adam Shita and Kodim Kiddush. Reish Pei Tes, Shabbos morning, says the same thing, Asle L'Adam Shita and Kodim Kiddush. So therefore, for practical purposes, we follow the sheet of the Rambam, that the Rambam holds that you're not allowed to eat before Kiddush. Concludes the Rambam ends off the halacha, the Gam Kiddush Zeh, even the Shabbos morning Kiddush, Lo Yiyeh El B'Makom Seuda. So we have the Rambam, we have the Rosh, that all paskin, in order for the Kiddush to be valid, a valid Kiddush, in order to validate the Kiddush, it must have with it a Seuda. And same thing also says the Shulchan Aruch, in Reishai and Gimel, Halacha L'Maisa and Kiddush Al-Makom Seuda, we paskin like the sheet of Shmuel, that in order for the Kiddush to be valid, you have to have a Seuda. So that brings us to tonight's Shir. If this is true, that I'm not allowed to eat before Kiddush, it's us to eat before Kiddush. And in order for the Kiddush to be good, to be a valid Kiddush, I have to have a Seuda with the Kiddush. What constitutes a Seuda? What do I have to eat in order for it to be a Seuda? Do I have to eat pas? Is mezonus enough? Are peiros enough? What's considered a Seuda? So let's begin with one of the primary Rishonim in the Talmid Rabbeinu Yonah. Where the Talmid Rabbeinu Yonah writes like this. He says, now, again, we'll see, we're not talking about this topic, but the Mechaber brings it down in a Shita, but the Rabbeinu Yonah's Shita itself was that for Shal Shuddis, you could be Yotze with Paris. The first two Seudas, in order to do the Malacha Mishnah, you need pas. Mahai time, if somebody forgets Yal V'Yogah by the first 2 meals of Shabbos, the din is he has to bench again. Shal Shuddis, if he forgets Ritzei, forgets Ritzei. If he forgot Ritzei the first 2 meals, he has to bench again. Shal Shuddis, somebody forgets Ritzei, he doesn't have to bench again. What's the difference? Says Rabbeinu Yonah, because the first 2 Seudas are an obligation, it's obligatory, he has to eat pas. So therefore, if he forgets Ritzei, he's mechuyev to bench again. However, by Shal Shuddis, writes Rabbeinu Yonah, you can be Yotze with Paris. So being you can be Yotze with Paris, even though somebody ate pas, he doesn't have to say Ritzei. We pass in the Reish Tzadik test, that Reish Tzadik Aleph, the Lechatchila someone should have pas. If he doesn't have pas, he can do Mezonis. If he doesn't have Mezonis, he can do Paris. But Rabbeinu Yonah himself held he can be Yotze with Paris even Lechatchila. And therefore he says, being they can be Yotze with Paris Shal Shuddis, somebody forgets Ritzei, you don't have to bench again. Says Rabbeinu Yonah, why? Why is it that the first 2 meals I have to eat pas, and when it comes to the third Seuda, Shal Shuddis, I don't have to eat pas. We learn at Echlu Hayom, it says it 3 times. So the same way I got to eat bread Friday night and Shabbos morning, why don't I have to eat bread Shal Shuddis? Says Rabbeinu Yonah like this, a fasting Rabbeinu Yonah. He says, because Friday night I have to make Kiddush. Shabbos morning I have to make Kiddush. And being that ain't Kiddush El B'Makom Seuda, so Memela, that's why I have to have pas. Because the only way the Kiddush can be a good Kiddush is only if I eat bread. So and I'm allowed to eat before Kiddush. So therefore says Rabbeinu Yonah, that's why the first 2 meals have to have pas. However, when it comes to Shal Shuddis, there's no Kiddush. So being that there's no Kiddush, I don't have to eat pas. A fascinating Rabbeinu Yonah. I mean, it's really the Kiddush which shafts the pas. And being that Friday night and Shabbos morning is a Chiv Kiddush, and the only way I can be Yotze my Kiddush is with pas, therefore concludes Rabbeinu Yonah, that's why Shal Shuddis I can have Paris because there's no Kiddush, Friday night I have to have pas. And as we pass from Rabbeinu Yonah, that the way to be Yotze Kiddush Malachim Seuda is only one way, and that's with bread. Not only that, if we go centuries later, the Meiser Rav, the Vilna Gaon, the Meiser Rav writes in Kuf Chav Beis, he says like this, Af B'Kiddush Hayoim, even when it comes to Kiddush by day, which is only the Rabbanon, writes the Gra, Eino Mekadosh, you can't make Kiddush, Ela B'Makom Seuda Gemura. Ela B'Makom Seuda Gemura, V'lo Mine Kargima V'Yayin, he can't use Mezonis, he can't use Paris, he can't use wine, there's only one way to be Yotze Kiddush. And Zok the Goyim, that's with pas. I remember when Rav Hershel Shachta was there for Shabbos, so we invited him to come downstairs to make Kiddush with us. So he said, what do you mean? You have the Shittas Hagra, that you're not Yotze Kiddush without pas. So we brought him Bilkolov, he made a whole Seuda downstairs. We wanted him to come join us. The Meiser Rav says that in order to be Yotze Kiddush Malachim Seuda, you have to have pas. That's the first Shita. That's the first Shita. Let's see the other end of the spectrum. The Shulta Giborim. Listen to a Shulta Giborim. The Shulta Giborim writes in Mesechtes Pesachim on Daf Chaf Midaf Yarif. A person wants to eat Minei Megadim, which many of the Achronim say means Paris. The person's making Kiddush and all he wants to have is Paris. Not Mezonis, not even Yayin. He's having fruit. He's starting off by his friend's house. He's going to have Kiddush, and he just wants to have some fruit. He doesn't like the cake there. He doesn't trust the kashrus. He doesn't like the cake that they bought. He wants to make Kiddush in house and have Paris, and then he's going to go home afterwards to have the meal. Right? The Shulta Giborim. He wants to eat the main meal in a different house. He's allowed to make Kiddush in the first place, eat his Paris, go home, and doesn't have to make another Kiddush. You know why? Because he was already Yotze Kiddush in the first place. He says the Shulta Giborim, that in order for Kiddush to work, you need Seuda. Says the Shulta Giborim, no. Being that it's Shabbos, every Achilas Arai, even a temporary eating, it turns into an Achilas Kfa. It comes into a Kfiyas, it's called a Seuda. And therefore says the Shulta Giborim, the other end of the spectrum, he says that a person can be Yotze Kiddush Malachim Seuda even with Paris. Peltig Shulta Gibarim. Kol Shekein Mezainis, Kol Shekein Yayin, even Paris itself can be Yotze. After they kach, they sent a tshuva to the Ein Yitzchak, the Kovner Rav, the Ritzchak Inspector. He lived from 1817 to 1896. He was the Rav of Kovner. Today, Rabbi Yitzchak Al-Chanan, the yeshiva's named Nifter, Ritzchak Inspector. He was one of the greatest gedolim of his time. They used to call him the Rabbi, the Rabbi Shel Kol Bnei Agoyim. He was the Rav of the Yidden across the entire diaspora. He mamish paskan shalos for the ganze Welt. And they sent him a tshuva, a shayla. They asked him regarding Shabbos morning, could people go ahead, could they make Kiddush? They don't have cake, maybe by the Kiddush there wasn't enough cake, or they didn't want to eat the cake, and they wanted to know if they could be yotze with drinking beer. That would shake him. He starts off in the tshuva of a ma'aser beer, over by your matzah maybe perhaps, but he comes out at the end, he says, first of all, we have a shittas arrival that says that there's no way for eating before Kiddush Shabbos days, even though we don't fast like that. But what happened to the Shulta Gibarim? The Shulta Gibarim says it could be Yotze on Paris. So therefore, at the end of a lengthy tshuva, he writes, L'chein, when it comes Friday night, do Kiddush D'Oraisa, Avada person should have lechem. L'chein, B'Kiddush Hayoim, Yesh L'Hachko, V'Lismei Chaminei Kagima. You can be Yotze even on fruits. Oy Kois Yayin, you can use wine. V'Yesh Lanu L'Tzaref L'Sniff, you can even take the sniff of the Shittas Aravid, and therefore, Beis Adchak, B'Kiddush Hayoim, B'Chilas Paris, that the Kovner Rav wanted to use the Shulta Gibarim to say that a person can be Yotze Kiddush Makom Seuda Shabbos even with Paris. The Chai Adam writes that in Liber Chalash, a person is feeling shvach, and he wants to make Kiddush, he doesn't have cake, he can be Samech on the Shulta Gibarim. So on one hand, you have the Talmid Rabbeinu Yonah that says you need pas. We have the Shulta Gibarim that says even Paris, meaning Tagim, you can be Yotze with fruit. So how do we pass them? What does the Shulchan Aruch say? Comes the Shulchan Aruch in Reisha and Gimel and writes the following. Kosu Agoyim. Kosu Agoyim. Hode in Kiddush al-Makim Seuda. Hode in Kiddush al-Makim Seuda, writes the Mechaber. Halacha l'maisa is afilu achal dava mu'at. Even if a person ate a dava mu'at. What's a dava mu'at? So the place can write a dava mu'at means the amount to be obligated in a bracha achronim. Let's say he had a mezainis. If he had a mezainis, which he has to eat b'chdei achilas pras. If he had a kazayis of mezainis b'chdei achilas pras, how long is k'dei achilas pras? So it's a machlokes hapoiskim. It varies between 2 minutes, and the longest share is 7.5 minutes. Some hold 2 minutes, but Moshe held 3 minutes and a little bit more. The Shulchan held 4 minutes. Some held 5 minutes. The Malam L'Hoyel held 7.5. But the Mechaber says that someone has a kazayis of mezainis in the share of k'dei achilas pras, he's yotze. Writes the Mechaber, Oishosa Koishel Yayin. Even if a person drinks a cup of wine or a vis of Yayin, Shechayel of bracha, that he has to make a bracha achroina. So how fast do you have to drink mashkim? How fast do you have to drink the wine? So we know that when it comes to a food, you need b'dei achilas pras. When it comes to a liquid, you have the amount of time of b'dei achilas pras. So Kidu and Tafresh Gimel is a machlokes hapoiskim. Does it have to be b'dei achilas pras? We allow it to go that far, or does it have to be the amount of time that it takes to drink a revis, which is 2 gulps? The machlokes, 2 sheets. But the Mechaber clearly says if somebody has a koshel yayin, he's yotze Kiddush Makom Seuda, side with yayin, side with zonis. He's yotze the Kiddush Makom Seuda, the goymes udasi b'makom acher. He doesn't have to make another Kiddush when he gets home. Being that he was yotze Kiddush in the first place where he had mezonis, or he had a cup of yayin, so when he goes home to eat the meal, he doesn't have to make Kiddush again because he was already yotze Kiddush. V'davka ochel lechem, that's only if he eats bread, or shosi yayin, or if he drinks wine, or if he has mezonis. If all he had was fruit, says the Mechaber loy, that's no good. So we see the Mechaber had like a middle ground. Lechem you don't eat. Paris doesn't work. But if you have a kazayis of cake, or if you have a revius of wine, that's enough. And the Mishabur brings down a shittas of Lavush. That's interesting. The Lavush writes that to have 1 kais of revius is, let's say, also dependent. Some shittas hold it's 3 ounces, some say 3.3 ounces, it's really not a lot. But the Lavush writes that even though the Mechaber says a kosher revius is enough, he says, I hold that's besides what he's using for Kiddush itself. The Aruch Shulchan says, what does that mean? What's the difference? Mali koisech and Mali shnei koises. About Paponim, there's a question the Lavush and others want to say, besides the amount that he drinks for Kiddush, the Kitzur says a Mali Lugmov, he should have that revius of wine. The other poskim say the Mechaber clearly says revius alone is enough. So we have 3 shittas in the poskim, what constitutes Kiddush Makom Seuda. And according to the Mechaber, once a person was Yotze Kiddush Mokum Seuda, he does not have to make Kiddush again. What's the pshat in this machlokes? What's the pshat? Mikatza al katza. You have a Shulta Gibarim that tells us even Paris is enough. We have a Mechaber that says a revius of wine, a kazayas of cake is enough. And we're going to see later in the shir that some poskim held that any nizonis is enough. A person has chont, there's a kazayas of barley, or kishka, there's a kazayas of flour, let's say, or Yushalmi kugel. Let's say somebody has a kazayas of Yushalmi kugel. You know, why is Yushalmi kugel called Yushalmi kugel? Everybody eats Yushalmi kugel. Why is it limited to the Yushalmis? So Shlomo Zalman writes, you know why it's called Yushalmi kugel? Today they have to ready the Shlomo kugel. That started over here, but they have the Yushalmi kugel. The reason why they call it Yushalmi kugel is because the poverty at once in Eretz Yisrael was so great, was so terrible. People Pasha didn't have bread to eat in Shabbos, so they would go to the Kiddush and they would fill themselves up on Yushalmi kugel. So because this became the staple, it became the food that they used to eat, they gave it the title of the Yushalmi kugel. But let's say somebody has Yushalmi kugel. Is that enough? That's not baked, that's cooked. A person can have as much Yushalmi kugel as he wants. He can eat. He doesn't bench on that. That's cooked. On cooked things, the Mechaber says you don't bench. So we're going to see that Moshe held Yushalmi kugel. We'll get to that. But many places come up Yushalmi kugel was okay. But al kaponim, you have three sheet to say what Kiddush Mokum Seuda is. What are they arguing in? What's the machlokes? So listen to a pshat. I want to read to you a Rashbam, a very subtle Rashbam. He says two pshat in Kiddush Mokum Seuda. It seems like a nice drush. But I believe that this Rashbam is really the Pesach. It's the entranceway to really understanding the entire machlokes here between the Shulta Gibarim, the Mechaber, and Rabbi Yonah. And we're going to see a difference in a rush. How the rush twists around literally 1 to 2 words, and it's going to make such a difference in how you come out with Kiddush Mokum Seuda is. Comes the Rashbam himself, and the Rashbam says like this: Ain't Kiddush Mokum Seuda? Kedev Rashin and Kaimel Kamei. Ain't Kiddush Mokum Seuda. You know why? The Pasuk in Yeshaya writes, the Karasa l'Shabbos Oinig. The Karasa, you should call Shabbos an Oinig. What's Karasa? That's a Kriya. That's a reading. That's a calling. It's a proclamation. What Kriya are we referring to? Kiddush. Oinig. What's Oinig? Oinig is delicacies. He's eating. He's enjoying. Ein Oinig elo b'basa v'yayin. It's that kind of idea. So Oinig means the Seuda. Comes the Rashbam. The Karasa l'Shabbos Oinig. B'mokem ha'kriya. In the place you make Kiddush, Sham Tehei Oinig. Over there, let the Seuda be. The Karasa l'Shabbos Oinig, a play on words. V'zel minedrash, she writes. The Karasa, in the place where you're making the Kriya, where you're making the Kiddush, Sham Tehei Oinig, over there, let the Oinig, that's where the Oinig should be. That's his first shot. The Rosh takes the exact same words, but he switches it around. The Karasa l'Shabbos Oinig, B'mokim Oinig, Sham Tehei Akriya. Where the Seuda is, that's where the Kiddush should be. The Rashbam says, I'm just telling you the words before we get into this lumbus, what they're saying. The Rashbam is saying, B'mokim Kriya, where the Kiddush is, that's where the Seuda's got to be. The Rosh is saying, no, B'mokim Ha'oinig, where the Seuda is, that's where the Kiddush has to be. Inami writes to Rashbam, Inami, another pshat. Inami, I'll tell you another pshat. He says, Svari. The din of Kiddush Mokum Seuda is a svara. Mid the ikfa Kiddush al yayin, from the fact that we learn out that Kiddush has to be made al yayin, mistama al yayin shebeshah Seuda hukfa alav. If Chazal wanted you to make Kiddush on wine, so you have to figure like this: when's the person drinking the most wine? During his meal. So being that the main shtiyah of wine is during the meal, that's where we want the Kiddush to be. But it starts with the Seuda. Like the Rosh, where the Seuda is, that's where the Kiddush is. Like the Inami of the Rashbam, where the Kviyas of Yayin is, where the Seuda is, that's where the Yayin should be. According to the first pshat of the Rashbam, it's the total opposite. The Karasa, where you're making Kiddush, in order to validate the Kiddush, in order to enhance the Kiddush, Sham Tehei Oinig. What's the nafkamina? The nafkamina is beautiful. If you're going to learn, like the Rosh, that the Mokem HaSeuda is where we want you to make the Kiddush, so on Shabbos, what does the Seuda have to be? It has to be with Lechem Mishnah. So maybe it's very Geshmak, or Rabbi Yonah, and the Meiser Rav and the Goin say that the only way you Yotze Kiddush is like Rabbi, like he's saying, is only with Lechem, and Kiddush al Mokem Seuda, because it's the Seuda that obligates the Yayin, so maybe I have to have the bread. And maybe that's why the Goin held, because he was going like the second shot of Rashbam, and like the Rosh, the Makim Seuda, Shamtei HaKiddush. But according to the first shot of Rashbam, then it's all about the Kiddush. So then we're just saying that to validate the Kiddush, you have to eat something. So then I can start clearing. Maybe Paris is enough. Maybe Yair itself is enough. Maybe Mizarnis is enough. But we can understand very geschmack the machlokes between the Rabbeinu Yoina, the Shulta Giborim, and the Machab. So as we stand now, for all practical purposes, Halacha L'Maisa would seem to follow the sheet of the Shulchan Aruch, that I'm Yotzei with a Mizarnis, or Revi Yisyayin, or like the Lavush, besides the Kiddush. And L'chayra, I would have to go ahead, in order to be Yotzei my Kiddush, I have to have a Kazayis Akei, B'chtei Achilas Pras, or Revi Yisyayin of Kiddush. But if I don't have that, a person goes to a Kiddush. And he has, let's say, schnapps, or he has a small kichel, not the amount of the Kazayis, and he has herring and potato kugel and sholent that doesn't have the Kazayis of Bali, he will chayr was in Yotzei's Kiddush. Now, one second, if you're not Yotzei a Kiddush, it's asalitam, you're not allowed to eat. It's asalitam, you can't eat. That was the Rambam, and we saw in the Shulchan Aruch that we don't go like the Ravid. So comes the Shari Tshuva and Resha and Gimel, and he writes, he says, V'tamati, he says, I don't understand this. I guess, in those times, it wasn't like today, the Baruch Hashem, today, after every Shabbos morning, we have Kiddush and Shul. Then it was reserved for an Afruf, for a Simcha. So he says, I don't understand, they would go to an Afruf, or immediately they would go to a bris, the Baal Simcha doesn't even put out cake. Kiddush, Rak Mine Megodim, all they have is sweets, they have fruits, they have chocolates, they have candies, they have coffee, the kava, they have coffee there. L'chayra, Ein lo litam sham klal. What's the head to eat? How's everybody going to these Kiddishim? How are they eating? Ein lo litam sham klal, because being that the Kiddush is not a valid Kiddush, once the Kiddush is not a valid Kiddush, you're not allowed to eat. So says the Shari Tshuva, what's going on? How are people going to these Simchas? How are they eating? And to make matters even worse and more difficult, the Chavetz Chaim, the Mishnah Berurah, our halachic Kavari brings down the Shari Tshuva halacha l'maisa. He says people have to be careful. He says, "V'alkein ma'shenogim leilach sivkon chavav leilach beis chasen amila ve'en sham kissen achra kiddush rak mini megodim." Says the Chavetz Chaim, "Ein le'litim sham klal." And it's not enough that the one who's making kiddush drank Revi Yisyayin. That could work for the Makadosh. But for somebody else, if he doesn't have kiddush makom Seuda, how can he eat by the kiddush? If he doesn't have the kazayis b'techad de'achilas pras or Revi Yisyayin, how could he eat? Rabbi said, I want to share with the Yolam a revolutionary Kiddush of the Yigis Moshe. Comes to Moshe Feinstein, Zechat Tzaddik of the Kodesh of Rachel. He takes on the Shari Tshuva, he takes on the Magen Avram, and he says a Kiddush like this. The Moshe writes, if you take a look, there's two Tshuvas in Moshe. One is in Yerid Deil, Chelik Beis, Simon Kuf Samaches, and then he has a Tshuva with about over 10 pages. Over 10 pages of a tshuva. In Orechaim Chelik Daled, I believe it's Siman Ayin Gimel. It's a very long tshuva, where he wants to be mechadish over there. Listen to a chiddush of Moshe. The Moshe writes that you're right. You tell me that ain't kiddush al makom Seuda. My Seuda has to have a kiddush, and I'm not yotzei kiddush if I didn't have a Seuda. But then there's another aspect over here. There's something else we have to deal with, and that's the Shittas Rambam, that it's asur to eat before Kiddush. Comes at Moshe, and the Moshe writes that Kiddush has in it the koyach to be a matir. The person goes there and makes Kiddush. He doesn't have any cake, he doesn't have a Revi Yisyayin. You're right that he's not yotzei the Kiddush. I'll sit in of Kiddush makom Seuda, and he'll have to make Kiddush later, but it still has in it the koyach to be matir and take off the isser of eating before Kiddush. Because there are two dinim, there are two aspects, there are two components to this Kiddush. One is that the Kiddush is a matir, it takes off the isser of eating before, and then there's something else that I am only yotzei my chiyuv of Kiddush if I had it with a Seuda. So it says in Moshe, right, if I don't have it with a Seuda, I'm not yotzei my Kiddush, but it doesn't take away the fact that it still has in it the koyach to be matir and isser. And therefore Moshe paskins, which is a tremendous limit schus. A person goes to a Kiddush Shabbos morning. Let's say he has herring, potato kugel, cholent, there's no kazayis of barley and cholent, and he has meat, pastrami, you name it, the whole meal. When he goes home, he's going to make Kiddush again by his Seuda. So the Kiddush makom Seuda will be yotzei at home. How is he allowed to eat in the shul? L'chayra, he wasn't there to Kiddush. Because you have a Moshe, because the Kiddush that I made had the koyach to be matir the Isser eating before Kiddush. So listen to an afkamina that's going to come out. Let's say a person Shabbos morning. This is not in the tshuva, this he said Balpeh. Let's say a person goes to a shul Shabbos morning, and he eats by the Kiddush. He doesn't have the kazayas of cake, and he doesn't have Revi'is of wine. And he eats the kugel and everything else. So was he Erev Nissa according to Moshe? No. He wasn't there to Kiddush yet, but he wasn't Erev Nissa. To eat without Kiddush, I can't. But the Kiddush has in it to be matir, it is. Now, on the way home, his friend tells him, you know what, come over, do me a favor, come over to my house. I just got a good bottle of schnapps. Come over to the house. Let's make a l'chaim. He goes to the house. He wants to make a l'chaim. He doesn't want to have cake. Could he use the first Kiddush, let's call that Kiddush class A of being matir the Isser. Could he use that Kiddush in the shul to remove the Isser by his friend's house to be able to have the schnapps? But can I use the first aspect of the Kiddush of being a matir from one place to the next? Says Moshe, Avadi, you could. Because since the fact of eating before Kiddush, that already I took off, says Moshe, what's the problem? I was already matir the Isser, being that I was matir the Isser, and when I go home eventually, I'm going to make Kiddush Magam Seuda. I'll be Yotze make Kiddush Magam Seuda. When I get home and I have my chal and I have my meal, I'm going to make another Kiddush. I am not going to eat before Kiddush. I already made that kind of Kiddush. And therefore, a person could go mamish to many homes until he gets home based on the first Kiddush that he made. A gewaldige Kiddush. I remember one of the first shalos I got out Tzarov was L-Meiah, it's a gewaldige zach. It's mamish who comes to the Kiddush Shabbos morning. It's a meridige zach. First of all, Baruch Shem and Kehilos across the world that Nizar and talking during davening, it's a great place to catch up on all the talking that could have took place during davening. So it's mamish and tzarech gadol. It's a gewaldige zach to have. So what do you do Pesach morning? Pesach morning, this is one of the first shalos I got out to the Rav. What do you do Pesach morning? If you eat gebroks, you can have a kazayas of gebroks. You can have the machabashita. But if you don't eat gebroks, that's it. You have to cancel the Shabbos morning Kiddush. What do? So I gave three eights to solve from the biggest machmirim down to Moshe's psak. There'll be gebroks. So the ones who eat gebroks will have the mezainis. The ones who go like the Shulchan Aruch, I recommended to put out maybe a bottle of wine, a few bottles of wine. People could drink 3 ounces, 3.3 ounces of wine. You have the mechaber. And if not, if somebody doesn't want to drink the wine, you have Chuvas Moshe, Yus Moshe, Chelik Dalet, Simen Tzamach Gimel, and you have also a tremendous Kiddush of Moshe, Yeridea, Chelik Beis, Simen Kuf Samaches, that says that the Kiddush can buy the matzah. When the person goes home, he's going to have his matzah, he's going to make Kiddush. Unbelievable psak. The Lamais is a Kiddush of Moshe. Many argued with him, Mishnah argued, it seems like the Shulchan Aruch argues, the Lamais, that Azoikim the Chaysim of Moshe. Oh, wow. I'm rushing you those at times. Okay. We'll pick it up.
I'm not rushing you.